You know, there seems to be this ongoing conversation about politics in comic books, and it doesn't seem like there's a day that goes by you don't hop on YouTube or any other form of social media, really, where you don't have somebody on there like, oh, I don't like politics in my comic books. And then, obviously, you get the other super enlightened guy that's like, oh, politics have always been a part of comic books. And then it starts to go into just this kind of brain-numbing conversation about these guys going on about politics and this or that and how it's always been there, hasn't always been there. And which ultimately most times ends up resorting to name calling, and that's where it usually gets to. And one guy feels more vilified than the other. Like, oh, he called me names, or the other guy's like, well, this guy's an idiot. Well, regardless, the one thing that I don't think is that it's politics. I don't think politics are necessarily the issue, and there's a couple of reasons why this whole thing seems to go on, but I don't think it's necessarily politics that are the issue. Now, the first thing I would say is that I think a lot of times it comes down to it's not reflective of your personal political beliefs or even your own morals and values and things like that. Not even just down to politics. I think it really is ultimately it's not necessarily reflective of yours. You disagree with it. But I think there's a little bit more to it than that. It's not just the fact that it's something that you do or don't agree with, whether it's political or, like I said, even of your own personal values or anything like that. It's not necessarily politics. Now, I think the ultimate reason is for a lot of this is it's not politics that are the issue. It's not that it's a lot of how it's done. And I've talked about this in many live streams. It's not that you do it, it's how you do it. This could come down to writing or any number of things if you're watching a movie, directing, acting, or whatnot. It's ultimately not that you do it, it's how you do it. Because case in point is there's this movie called from 2004 with Kevin Bacon called The Woodsman, right? And it's dealing with something that I myself personally feel very strongly about. Kevin Bacon is he's a child molester who's working in this factory, and he's basically not letting it out that he's just got out of prison, and he was there for molesting a child. Now, like I said, I have my own strong personal beliefs on these things, but you see, he gets out, he gets this job, and you kind of see how his family life is. His sister's pretty much shunned him. His brother-in-law, comes and hangs out with him, but still doesn't really trust him. You know what I mean? And you can kind of see that. And through the course of the movie, it follows him around all these things, and eventually you see things happening. He ends up getting in a relationship and just different stuff like that. But it deals with all this stuff that I personally disagree with and have very strong feelings about. The end of the movie kind of gets you to think like, maybe this person's not so bad. Maybe a person can reform and do good and all these kinds of touchy-feely, feel-good things, right? But ultimately, I still feel the way I do about it. But the movie was done in a way that was thought-provoking. It was thought-provoking. It made me think like, yeah, maybe there could be a good side to this ultimately. But that ultimately comes down to something else about I believe is good people can do bad things and bad people can do good things. It doesn't really ultimately change who they are or the things that they've done. And I think a lot of people realize that too. And I guess it kind of depends on the severity of things. But like I said, this particular movie deals with things that I have very strong feelings about. And yet it's a great, great movie, right? It's not that they done it, it's how they done it. They made this movie that pretty much kind of redeems, in a way, this child molester. And believe me, I'm very against that. But the way it was done, I was like, no, it was a good thought-provoking movie. So, and this really has to do with a lot of stuff. And I know, maybe you're thinking like, oh, that's not politics, but it really deals with a lot of really even more bigger issues than just politics, if you think about it. But it's all kind of set in there on that spectrum. But it's something that, like I said, my very strong personal beliefs is in this movie. You know, like this goes against it. I'm just like, it just makes me feel a little empathetic for the guy. But ultimately, I really don't. Right? I don't. No sympathy. But the thing is, it's not that they done it. It's how they done it. It was a good movie, and one I would suggest that you probably go check out. So that's the ultimate reason I feel like this conversation happens most times, is when it comes down to something like in a comic book that you see. It's not that it's done, it's how it's done. And I know a lot of people these days like to talk about the comic books or even like the movies. You know, everything's woke, this and that, and blah blah blah, woke, you know, whatever. And you know, there are some things out there that we can see where they are doing certain things in the comic book. Like, well, yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff out there for, you know, diversity and representation and all that. And whether you like that or not, hey, that's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide. And if you like the comic book, go read it. If you don't read it. That's not for me to decide. That's for you. That's for you to decide. But ultimately, I feel like what a lot of is going on in a lot of these movies, comic books, things like this, is form of entertainment. The issue isn't the politics. It's not that it's done. It's how it's done. Maybe it's the writing, the directing, the acting, or whatnot. Maybe it's the promotion of the comic book or the movie or whatnot. It's not that it's done. It's how it's done. Beating somebody over the head, preaching to them, stuff like that. And you can certainly do those things in a movie or comic book and all that stuff as well. But again, it's not that it's done. It's how it's done. You can see that there's plenty of things out there, plenty of examples where writers, directors, movies, like I said, just things like that, forms of entertainment, have done all these political things and these political narratives in them that people absolutely love. I guarantee you, some of your most, your high fantasy, your most escapist kind of entertainment is drawing on these things, these parallels, you know, kind of an allegory to it. Again, it's not that it's done, it's how it's done. It really doesn't have to do with the politics, or even necessarily that it's your personal politics or values being espoused in the movie. It's ultimately how it's done. I don't know, but that's just me. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. You know, if you agree with me, you know, it's not necessarily the politics that is the issue. It's not that it's done, it's how it's done. Something I've talked about many times in some of the live streams here. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you agree with me, let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you don't agree, you know, it's all good. You can leave a thumbs down as well. They're probably not going to tell you how many you left, though, right? But make sure you do all those things if you like this video, you know, and you want to see more just like it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But you all have a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.